Jesus' disciples asked him, what were the signs of him coming back and the end of the age? Jesus said in Matthew 24:15-21, Daniel, the prophet, spoke about the terrible thing that causes destruction, the abomination of desolation. You will see this terrible thing standing in the holy place. You who read this should understand what it means. The people in Judea at that time should run away to the mountains. They should run away without wasting time to stop for anything. If they are on the roof of their house, they must not go down and get anything out of the house. If they are in the field, they must not go back to get a coat. During that time, it will be hard for women who are pregnant or have small babies. Pray that it will not be winter or a Sabbath day when these things happen and you have to run away, because it will be time of great trouble. There will be more trouble than has ever happened since the beginning of the world, and nothing as bad will ever happen again. This prophecy was given by Jesus 2,000 years ago. Jesus was crucified, rose from the dead, and ascended into heaven about 40 years later. There was the first Jewish-Roman war. Rome besieged and conquered the city of Jerusalem. By 70 AD, Rome had burned and destroyed the Second Temple. They conquered the city shortly after. Most of the people had been killed, taken captive, or fled. Only a small number of Jews remained, but the nation of Israel did not exist. Jews were scattered. The Second Temple was destroyed. For the fulfillment of the prophecy Jesus foretold in Matthew 24, the Jews must live in Judea. In 1948, Israel was reborn. When the United Nations partitioned the area of Israel and the area of Judea stayed under Arabic control. That was designated to be a Palestinian state, but they refused, and they said they wanted to drive the Jews totally out of there. When the nation of Israel was established, the 5 Arabic nations declared war, which began on May 15, 1948. It was called the War of Independence. After that war, Jordan came over and captured the area of Judea. Jordan illegally occupied the West Bank, trying to destroy Israel. Jordan stayed in the West Bank from 1948 to 1967. During that time, Jordan drove out all of the Jews living in Judea. So by 1967, there were no Jews living in the area. Jordan also controlled East Jerusalem. Israel controlled West Jerusalem. It was only separated by a fence. in an area called No Man's Land. In 1967, President Nasser from Egypt felt he was strong enough to destroy Israel. He made a league with Jordan and Syria to attack Israel. Israel quickly counterattacked and drove Jordan out of East Jerusalem, out of the West Bank, and out of the area of Judea. That was the famous 6-Day War. Israel defeated Jordan, Egypt, and Syria in 1967. Israel has held the land since that time. On December 23rd, 2016, United Nations said that Israel occupying the West Bank, Judea, Samaria, and East Jerusalem was violating international law. President Obama did not support Israel, and the United States abstained from the vote. Because of that, the international law was set that Israel was violating the law by occupying the West Bank, Judea, Samaria, and East Jerusalem. Other negotiations went back and forth since 1967. The goal has been a two-state solution. Everyone wants that. Under the two-state solution, the area of Judea would become a Palestinian state. Israel has never been willing to give up East Jerusalem because Jerusalem has always been the undivided capital of Israel. From 1948 to 1967, there were no Jews living in Judea. After the 6-Day War, Jews began to move over into the Judea area and settle there. Currently, there are about 850,000 Jews living in that area. About 350,000 live in East Jerusalem, and the other 500,000 of those live in settlements out in the area that the Palestinians say they will have for their homeland when a peace agreement is signed. Israel annexed East Jerusalem in 1980. In the meantime, Israel negotiated peace with the Palestinians. But the Palestinians declared they must have Judea for their homeland and must have East Jerusalem as their capital. It has been unacceptable to the Israelis. Consequently, there has never been peace since 1967. Both sides agree there should be a two-state solution. But the issue is, where should the borders be? Then, when the peace agreement happens, where should the Jews live? Will they need to move out? Or can they live in the Judea area, living as a Jewish minority in a Palestinian state? An article in Israel National News, August 1st, 2018, former minister, Jews should be allowed to live in Palestinian state. Former minister Yossi Beilin supported the Labor Party leader that there was no need to evacuate the Jewish communities that lived in Judea and Samaria. If Israel reaches a political settlement with the Palestinian Authority, to create a Palestinian Arab state. If there is not a two-state solution, then Israel will be ruling over an Arab population. It won't take long for the Arab population to surpass the Jewish population. Jews are not going to allow to have an Arab head of state in Israel. If Israel and the Palestinians both agree that the Jewish minority can live in Judea under Palestinian authority, it puts them one step closer to a peace agreement. 2,000 years ago, Jesus said that the Jews would have to flee. Jesus foretold that there would be Jews who would have to run for their lives. Just 3.5 years before the Battle of Armageddon, the final war. Jesus foresaw these things that haven't even happened yet. A peace plan could happen in the near future. Things are beginning to fit together. Prophecies are coming true.